These locomotives are just lovely. Old or new, they just seem such a high quality yet again from Hornby. So here's the question, would I buy another? Definitely 100%. Hello there everybody, welcome to Map the Dragon Railways. And as you may see from the thumbnail, today's video is a comparison video. And that is the comparison between the old Hornby Terrier and the brand new Terrier. Obviously we will see differences as this one is newer and this one's the older version, as well as liveries and the fact that one's a centenary and one's just a normal Hornby model. So without further ado, let's unbox these locos. Now I'm going to start with the older style Terrier, and as you can see it's the more modern box as they were back in the 80s I believe. But it has some information on the back. I got it from East Somerset Models, as you can see. There's your R number, number 4, yeah, the WC&PR. You can see this cost me £79, so a little bit on the pricey side. That actually cost me less as of discounts. So it's just the common sleeve and ice block. And as you can see, some instructions have came out. That's the 060 Terrier Class A1X locomotive operating and maintenance instructions. You've got your general routine maintenance, DCC running, hints and motor, chassis lubrication, etc, etc on the back. Important and all that. And as you can see, all your information as you do on the standard Hornby locomotives. So all we've got to do is pull that there. It's got a nice sheet to help protect the model. And there she is. Overall, she is actually a really nice engine. So we're getting into a deep look at her, but first I shall do the other loco, the number 45 Merton. So here is Merton. As you can see, it's a much bigger box and this is the centenary edition, so it's done out the sleeve like a old top link Hornby model. So there you've got the centenary logo, etc. So I'm going to push this sleeve out, and yes, this sleeve is a bit on. There we go. And as you can see, this beautiful case with limited edition Merton and Hornby, I absolutely love this box to bits. I think it's absolutely amazing, of a high solid quality. So all I've got to do is flip this up, and here is the certificate. You can pause and have a read if you would like, but as you can see, if you are curious, there are only 1,000 and mine is number 425. Quite a okay number to have. So then I've got this foam piece which I'll just easily take out, and there she is. And if you want, you can have a go at reading in there. It's the same as what's on the certificate, I believe. So here we go, same block of ice method, and here's the operating and maintenance instructions, and A1/A1X Terrier, etc, with all your general bits and bobs as we've seen before. Of course, this has a different motor, etc, so detail fitting and oiling, etc, as you know. And now let's get the locomotive itself out of the box, which is simple sleeve. And you can see we've got some detailed parts. This is only some pipes, so, and I'm not going to fit them, but they're really nice. You've got to pull this, and it's got a little bit of a different technique, this packaging, but I'm not going to cover that. Again, a piece of protective stuff. And there's the locomotive itself, and as you can see, this has a very high quality finish, and this is a very high quality model. So without further ado, I'm going to clear all this packaging and we will have a closer look at the details, etc. So I'll be right back. So here you can see a clear difference, of course, in livery. And you may point out that the size is different. If I put them side by side, you may just about see that the WC&PR older style is a little bit larger than the new one. Now, I might like to point out to you that this older version I actually bought when the new Terriers were out, and you may know from a video, I got this one for Christmas. I couldn't afford the newer one, so I bought this one at the time. I could have saved up, because not long after I bought that one, I actually had the money. Well, I would have had the money to have got a new one, which I would have got the BR, like the experimental green. Anyway, less of that. I'm just going to have a look at the WC&PR version, if I can focus. So you can see here the WC&PR logo is really nicely put on there, only tampo printed, but it's nice. It's nothing, you know, superior. It's just put on the side quite nicely. These parts of brake rigging, etc., at least I believe they are fairly chunky really, but they are okay. And the sand pipes, as you can see, they're actually not connected to the sand boxes, but that's because they're part of the base plate and that's part of the chassis. You can see the front of the locomotive, it's still quite nicely detailed and has separately fitted parts. I shall just quickly point out the separately painted part on the side, and you've got a fairly chunky array of separately fitted parts with all these pipes, handrails which seem to stick out quite far for my liking in a way. Got some nice banding, whistle. You can quite easily see a mould line, sadly, but it's still a nice model with great lining on the running board, etc. Now the running board, I believe, is just a white, if not there is a black, but it's extremely faint. But all this lining seems to just be white, but it has this sort of effect that it has black, and I think that's part of the running board helping with the splashes. But we obviously know the banding has black on it. Then you got your front handrail as well, and a nice chimney moulded there. You got coal, decently moulded, vacuum pipes pre-fitted, no sprung buffers obviously, and your cab detail is fairly limited to moulded regulator, etc., and a reversing lever, as you can see sticking out here. So it's nothing over the top with detail. There's a little handbrake in there as well, and the windows on the back, which is just moulding, there's no plastic to them, but I believe these front windows have glazing and this beautiful outline around the windows, which I absolutely love. So in general, this locomotive is very nice. I really do like this model. It's just, as you can see, you can just about see its age, with, you may see wires poking through. I don't know if you can, I don't think you can see that, but there is visible wires just under the boiler, but it's nice to see a little bit of air. So in general, like I say, you can see that it's a little bit dated, but it's still okay for a model. I probably would have said less than £79 though you could probably get them cheaper in model shops, and you can get them, the more older versions, I feel like you could get some really cheap on eBay, so nothing bad. And I've seen the chassis of these used for many things, like putting on the Dapol 04 shunter chassis as that, so you can have a running 04 shunter for not much money really, if you can find the chassis cheap or you have the chassis spare. So let's look at the brand new Terrier, the amazing Terrier. Now this Terrier is absolutely stunning. Now you can see, we'll start with Merton on the side, if I can focus. There you go. Oh, sorry. Look how complex that is. That must have took a lot of different layers of ink just to tampo print that beautiful name on the side, with the green on the tanks, which is actually quite unusual but nice, and exquisite detail with you can just catch on the light different parts of moulded detail that you, if it wasn't there, you wouldn't have thought of it, but it's just really nice to see here. Your wheels are painted with the little green bits and the red rods, and as you can see, that brake rigging is so much thinner You've got a little builder's plate on the front, which is exquisite. No sprung buffers, but you've got your NEM couplings. Also, you've got the very fine handrails and the number on the side, which is 45, with definitely legible writing on the side. Again, if I can focus, there you go. London, Brighton, South Coast Railway. You can see on the back, lovely lining and a very well detailed coal bunker with your outlined windows, which don't pop as much on the WC&PR, but that's because this one's a different colour, as this one's a closer colour, as you can see. A lovely white roof to the model with rivet details. Lovely windows again on the front with some dots on the front. I don't know what they're for. I'm sure you can tell me. The handrails are much finer on this model, and there's some, it's just lovely with separately fitted parts. This copper chimney cap, I believe, yes, it is plastic, I can confirm that, but it's really nice. And the running board of this is metal. The whistle on here is really nice with extra detail on the boiler, and you can see there's even the part to the cab where you would, you know, use the whistle. These very fine safety valves are really exquisite compared to this one, which are very chunky. I know you can see from the blur, but they're very chunky on that one. But this one is extremely exquisite with lovely tank filler caps. The lining on this is again exquisite and so characterful. And you've got this part on the side, which has separately fitted pipe. But I believe that top bit is still moulded. It may be separately fitted. Something is convincing me where it's so good if it is moulded. The buffer beam on the front is just amazingly lined out. Extremely well lined, this model, I must say, with the dart, smoke box, well, the handrails above the smoke box and all this is well picked out in a silvery colour, and you can see the smoke box door. You can see it looks like a separate part that would open, with beautiful lamp irons replicated as well, and a lovely coupling hook. And then you've got these two little parts here, which I presume is for oiling. You don't see any representation of rods under the boiler, but you do see a very tiny bit of air, but it's painted red. And I must admit, when I first got this model, I was fooled for that red paint for being the rods of the locomotive. Now we'll move on to the cab detail, which is absolutely amazing, fully painted out. The glazing in the window is one solid piece and the gauges aren't picked out, but there are some lovely bits of painting on there. I can clearly see the water gauges, reverser and that, etc. So I think it's time to put these locomotives on the layout and see how they perform. So it is actually the next day of filming, and here are the Terriers on the layout. And as you can see, I'm going to test slow speed, but I will test them on the outer line, as that is probably the one with the better quality track. So without further ado, I'm going to test slow speed on my WC&PR number 4. And if you're wondering, this is on the silver controller. I've heard many people not so happy with these controllers, but I seem to think they're okay and they do the job. So I'm just going to turn up the power and hear it buzz. And I think it's moving, but extremely slowly. So that's a great start. And I must point out that both these locos have been running, as they do run on the layout normally. And there you go, you see it moving. It's just stored. So yeah, it's stored again. The track isn't being too favourable to these locos. I believe it needs a clean at the moment, so there you go, but it'll be fine when it's up to speed. So yeah, it's actually quite a decent slow speed. Like I say, the track isn't doing it any favours really. but I think, excuse the fingers in the camera, I wouldn't say that's bad, and I'd say that's actually quite smooth. So now it is on to the next terrier, which is Merton. So the WC&PR No. 4 terrier is taking on water, so it's time to run Merton. So let's see, apologies for finger there, let's see what slow speed is like on this terrier. So I'm just easing it up. I can hear the motor, it's buzzing. Anything? I'm turning it up very slowly. Come on. Right, I heard a sound that sounded like movement, but still nothing. Oh, and there we go, so we're moving off quite quickly. Now, I've seen Sam's Train's review on these, and they seem to do slow speeds, though I've seen another video by a person I am subscribed to. I'm not sure, I think they may be subscribed to me, and they were on about their terriers just jetting off. Now, I'd say this one's a little bit better than what theirs had done. I'd say that's better than how fast theirs jetted off there, but it seems to do an okay slow speed, not as effective as the other one. So if you're looking for slow speed, you may want the older one, but of course Detail sees the modern one and is extremely wonderful, and I must admit I love this model quite a lot. So yeah, there's yeah, that's that. So again, this has been ran in, so it's time to set up the locomotives train. So the Terrier has a small goods train. I don't know if it's coupled up. Yeah. And Merton has a small 2-coach passenger train with my railway children coaches. So let's just set Merton off. And Merton does a nice crawl, a nice smooth slow speed. So there we go, off goes Merton. And now it's time to send off the other terrier. Now, like I say, the inner track isn't at the happiest of standards, so let's turn it up. Merton's almost done a lap. Oh, and she's not having it. Come on. It's just the inner line, it's not the locomotive, so don't worry. There we go. We've picked up speed and she's going well. She's just got to get used to the track. So now I'll just talk about what I think about each model, as well as running the locomotives. Both of these locomotives are just wonderful to watch. Just look at that. I've got the engines to get used to the track and it's running smoothly. Yeah, I'd say the older one is probably better at slow speeds, but let's be honest, when you look at real railways, it's not often a locomotive does slow speed, and you don't normally run a locomotive at a speed so slow, especially even when shunting over points. So I'd say that, to be honest, it's quite decent. I've just seen a derailment. Yeah, that was the derailment. Of course, it wasn't the locomotive's fault. I sound like I'm defending it. It wasn't. It was just the couplings, which is fine. I'll just sort it out and we'll be off again. It's not often you see both the lines running. It is quite nice to do. I'm sorry, but that livery is just amazing. I love that livery to bits. With that little bit of green that you kind of see as a black, it's just really nice to see. Here comes the WC&PR. Still a lovely loco with the livery. Just doesn't pop out as much, I'd say, as this one. I guess part of it is the detail. Now, which one would I recommend to you the most? Well, it depends on your taste. If you prefer a more detailed model, I would deeply recommend the newer one. Though if you are on more of a budget, then I'd go for the older one, because they still do great slow speeds and their detail's not too bad, just possibly a bit on the chunkier side. So yeah, and you could probably get them quite cheap on eBay. I'd say around £30 on eBay, though that's me a guess. You could probably get them 40, playing safe. I'm not sure, but I just think you could get a nice one on eBay quite cheap if you are on a budget. So yeah, these are wonderful locomotives, and I'll just finish up showing you some more clips of the engines running, and I will turn down the speeds for you so you can enjoy them a little bit more. These locomotives are just lovely. Old or new, they just seem such a high quality yet again from Hornby. So here's the question, would I buy another? Definitely 100%. So thank you everybody for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this comparison slash double review. Longest video I've ever made for my YouTube channel. So if you did enjoy it, please leave a like, as it would be greatly appreciated for the time this video has taken to edit and make. Please do consider subscribing if you would like to see more longer videos like this, or you just want to support the channel. Share this with your friends, as sharing is caring. And also consider leaving a comment. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you all next time. Cheerio for now.